and a warm welcome to this episode of Digital Dialogues powered by CXO Digital Pulse. Insurance, as we know, for decades have largely been built around products, standardized products, offering design at scale. But today, that paradigm is shifting. Customers are expecting to have much more evolved and digital capable, mature products as per to their requirement, and insurers are being pushed to rethink how they design, distribute, and deliver more value, moving towards more personalized, accessible, and experience driven models. And in today's conversation, we will get into the depth of all these aspects, all the changes, with none other than the industry expert that we have, Mr. Atrey Bhardwaj, who's the CGO of Probus. A very warm welcome, Atrey.
Thank you so much.
So, Atrey, as the discussion is all around insurance aspect, this is definitely a key product in everyone's life who wants their near and dear to be insured after them and in case of any mishappening. But since ages, it has been a very product focused aspect or say industry. How are companies now changing to become more customer focused and specifically in terms of designing those policies which can cater to the needs, to the age and different aspects of the life stages?
Yeah, so you're right. Actually, if we see the evolution of the insurance industry in Indian market, we have witnessed that earlier insurance company used to be completely product driven. They used to create products assuming a lot of parameters that this would be catering to the market needs. But lately what we have seen since the privatization of the Indian insurance industry in the last 10 years specifically, we have seen that there's a very, I would say, dynamic transition happening. This is not limited to the insurance company. This is actually true to the intermediaries and the customers also. We have seen that insurance companies have matured from selling standardized products to designing solutions which are very specific and apt for customers. Traditionally, products were built first and then they were sold. Now we've seen a transition that is happening wherein products are curated first, taking into account the customer's requirements, and then the products are filed with the regulator and then they are sold across. So
Okay.
as you aptly said that there is a structural shift happening in the market. It's right now identifying the customer's life stage, their goals, and the journeys that they want to have eventually for this kind of a financial tool.
Okay. When I talk about India as a country, it's definitely a very heterogeneous geography because it's just not restricted in terms of the age, but also in terms of tier 2, tier 3, and rural areas. To some extent, thanks to the digital transformation, these tools have definitely improved the reach. But still, I believe, and this is where we really look forward to your expert perception that what are the challenges that still exist to ensure that this product insurance becomes more accessible to the people who are down the tier or in the rural areas.
Right. So it's a very good question. In fact, let me tell you first. See, digital has evolved in Indian market. We have seen a lot of digital interfaces coming in, which are helping the customers first choose the right product for themselves and then have a seamless journey to procure that solution. But we are struggling to take this to the tier 3, tier 4 towns because there are certain barriers. The first barrier is that still while we boast about it that Indian market is evolving in tier 3, tier 4 towns also, but we see that there is still a low financial literacy over there. Insurance is still not very well understood over there because it's intuitively not understood. Customers think that sometimes insurance is investment, sometimes they think that insurance is a product which will give them a guaranteed yield to the investments that they are doing. While there are products which cater to investment ambition of a customer or when they expect a guaranteed product also, but that's not true about insurance as one whole cohort. So one is that low financial literacy is impacting this digital piece. Second, if you know very well, and you said just now that India is a very diverse country and so are the languages. What we see is that the linguistic landscape in the Indian market it requires some kind of a hyper local communication, so that the customers in respective geographies are able to first of all understand what is being communicated to them, right? And then third is, there is a very clear digital divide. While we again we see statistics coming in every day that India is almost 15 or 18% of India population is using smartphone. But usage of smartphone is different from using a specific digital interface, which will help customer choose a particular financial product. And lastly, and I would say the most important parameter which still is posing a problem is trust deficit. Insurance, as you know, it's a long-term commitment. When we talk about life insurance, health insurance also, while it's a one-year policy, but customer needs to renew it every year. So a trust has to be pretty strong among the insurance companies, customers, and the intermediaries. So what we have seen, that digital, while it's facilitating the overall penetration in the Indian market, adoption remains a problem. And this problem will not be solved alone with a digital progression. It has to be a phygital approach, right? This is where even Probus is taking a lot of interventions, educating, in tier 2, tier 3, tier 4 markets, and partnering with respective agents in the market who can ride on digital technology interventions and the graduation that we have done from the old tools to the new digital tools, and are able to communicate these financial solutions more effectively to this respective geographical location people. So what we see is that this is a phygital mode wherein the drive and the next, I would say, graduation will not be purely digital. It'll be digitally enabled, but human-led.
Okay. And I think you covered pretty well various aspects of insurance, and I'll pick on two aspects of it. It's definitely complex. And even if I talk from my perspective, it was a complex subject, it is, because still those nitty-gritties and those small fonts and understanding, what, where, when, do's, don'ts. I think that definitely, despite that the awareness is there, even if I talk with the tier 1, it is more of a fear-led product. Rather than if you say that, how much confident or trust I have in whatever I'm signing. I think that is still an area that insurers and organizations like you would be still struggling, because it's just not restricted to awareness. How do you really work upon on building the trust? Because that movement needs to be there where, it shouldn't be just fear-based. I should be very much well aware of everything. And by aware, obviously, I may be aware of the product, but, giving that, I with full trust, with full confidence, I am okay to sign that document. How do you ensure, what's the strategy over there?
Yeah, so this is the most important aspect of insurance sales. See, insurance has suffered this kind of a complexity since a very long time. As you said, there are dense policy documents, there are unclear terms, there is a claims process which is a very lengthy one. And the digital transformation, while it's trying to address it somewhere, the ultimate goal is not achieved very thoroughly because interventions in digital levers has to be complemented with a lot of efforts across the, I would say, stakeholders of this insurance fraternity, starting with the regulator, going to the insurer, then intermediary. So what we have seen is that while there are advancements that have taken place in terms of product design, simplification of products have happened, but there is a larger need to ensure that the communication about the features that the insurance product that a customer is going to buy needs to be simplified. With a one crisp page document, I should be able to understand, okay, hey, this is what I'm covered for. These are the exclusions where I'll not be paid any money. I'm just talking probably from the perspective of health insurance. And this is where I would require to provide certain documents. So there are things and nitty-gritties where insurance companies have a larger role to play, come up with simpler communication, ensure that the communication is somewhere used through the channels which effectively reach the larger population. We have seen that a lot of interventions done by the government have yielded a lot of success when it comes to all the Pradhan Mantri's yojanas that we have seen, because they were very simple in communication and a larger population was targeted very easily. I think we can take a cue from there, and similarly insurance companies and the intermediaries in those ecosystem has to adopt those channels which are effectively communicating all this. You said trust. Trust is to be, brought in with one, communication, two is the experience. So I address the part of communication wherein simpler format of communication modes are used, right channels are to be used, and second is experience. Again, taking cue from health insurance only because life insurance is a product which is claimed once. I'm talking about term insurance, but health insurance is where I think experience plays an important role. If I'm a customer and I know the process end to end, what I am expected to do if I am actually claiming, in my policy, that communication helps the customer builds the trust. If there is a break in this whole process, then there is a trust deficit that comes up. So I think the claims experience, which has been made seamless by insurance companies by giving customers real-time updates. Now this is again a part of digital transformation when I as a claimant gets to know, say my pre-approval has been done and now I can file the claim, or where is my claim stuck if I'm supposed to submit certain documentation. Earlier it was a hard copy documentation. Now we have evolved to a situation wherein I can digitally upload my policy document. In case of motor insurance, if I'm claiming, I can just do a quick video recording of the car and submit it online. A lot of general insurance companies have adopted this kind of claims management approach. So there are digital levers which are available in the market to help the claims experience, but the first part of ensuring that the right communication goes to the customer, I think all cohorts of this ecosystem have to collectively play a role.
Okay, great. And I think, as you mentioned, that seamless experience definitely counts as a pretty big advantage, because definitely the word of mouth, I think that's the strongest marketing tool in this sector. Because once a person has a good experience and the kind of marketing, self-marketing that's been done, that's definitely commendable. Another thing, Atrey, as you mentioned about the personalization and customization of products, that is something which is evolving and the process is there. So how are the insurers using this customer data and behavioral insights of people to ensure that they are able to build more personalized products?
Yeah. So I think this has been an evolution of insurance in the last, say, 5 to 10 years, wherein a lot of data has been available for the consumption by the insurance companies. With these behavioral data sets, with these medical related data sets, or even financial data sets, insurance companies have been able to kind of create a pre-underwritten products. A lot of products. Just to give you an illustration, that uh, for the bank insurance channel, a lot of insurance companies taking into account the kind of financial transactions are happening in a particular prospective insured's account. They understand what kind of financial strength that particular person has, and hence they waive off all the financial underwriting that typically is supposed to be done before a policy is granted for that customer. Similar is the case with a lot of health insurance companies, wherein with the right kind of a lifestyle management that the customers are going, they probably give them a preferred pricing. Similar is the case again with a lot of wellness tools that are coming in for health insurance, wherein if you do workouts regularly, if you actually walk minimum number of say 10,000 steps in a particular day, there are certain rewards and incentives that are offered to the customers. So these data sets somewhere has not just helped insurance companies to underwrite the product better, but to price the product better as well. And lastly, or more, I would say more importantly, what has happened now is that taking into account my likes and dislikes, and taking into account the kind of demography I am in, the geolocation where I live in, and the kind of lifestyle I adopt, targeted recommended products are being offered to customers, which are actually very customized. They are not standardized. So with these data sets and the data analytics and the AI tools that have come in, all these underwriting opportunities, the pricing related interventions, and the targeted recommendations are happening in the market right now.
Okay. And with this point, Andrea, I really am keen and interesting to highlight one point, which I'm sure is impacting insurance and say overall BFSI industry to a lot of extent, is the DPDP Act.
Yes.
because while a lot of customer data, their transactions, their behavior were being read, utilized in various forms, even say product customization in terms of marketing. But with this DPDP Act coming and it's there now, it's in practice. What impact does it put on the BFSI and more specifically to the insurance industry? Because suddenly now there's a barricade which is being added to get into that consent mode before you even utilize, collect, and use this data.
Yeah, I think that's a very valid point and an important one. And this is the right regulatory intervention that IRDAI has taken into account. These are, I would say, very critical guardrails that our regulator, our insurance companies of our ecosystem have to ensure. See, my data is very critical for me, my financial data, my health related data. And consensual approach is very important. And then thereafter, how it is used also is very relevant. You cannot use all the data sets that are available for your consumption, and probably transfer it to a third party. There has been a inherent risk of, leakage of data to third party, which eventually can use this data in a very adverse fashion. So DPDP Act obviously gives this kind of a strong guardrail to the overall community of insurance ecosystem. This has been a kind of, I would say, challenging piece for our industry because data was not so organized earlier. So the first piece was to organize data in such a way that there is a standardized data set shared across insurance companies. And then number two is the security layer, which ensures that there is no leakage of this data. And if there is one, then the insured is also indemnified through the right insurance mechanisms of the DPDP Act.
Okay, great. Thanks, Atrey, for such insights into the insurance sector. And to our audience, it's pretty clear that insurance sector is at the inflection point where growth with increasingly dependent not only just the coverage but also on delivering relevant, simple, and trustworthy products and bringing them, or say making them accessible to every touch point within India. And as insurance continue to leverage data with the existing guardrails, specifically with the onset of DPDP Act, digital infrastructure is also helping to create that accessibility to ensure that seamless experience to all the consumers. So this evolving distribution model, this real differentiator, this all effectively is where it will translate all these capabilities into a meaningful customer outcome. Thank you so much for being there with us during this discussion. And thanks to our industry leader, Mr. Atrey. And thank you every one of you to joining with us on this episode. We'll be back soon with another episode exploring more ideas, more perspectives, the change, the paradigm shift which is happening across different industries that are shaping our future. Till then, goodbye and take care.